Hey guys, welcome back to what should be my last video for January. So I'm wrapping it up with some of the best new mods to release, at least in the last few weeks of January. So if you end up finding a mod that you like and end up downloading it, make sure to endorse that mod author, and let's dive right in. Starting off with the redo of a mod I showcased last week, this mod is called Shouts of Stallholders, adding new lines to Stallholders while not replacing any of the vanilla lines, so you get a mix of what you've already heard before and brand new ones. And because this is an audio type of mod, I have to actually let you listen to the audio instead of talking over it. So here's a few examples of what you'll get with this mod once you install it.
Need gold? Don't forget, I will buy your unwanted stuff. Come, take a look at what I have for sale.
Quality merchandise here, at prices you can probably afford. Browse my wares. Goods bought and sold here. Come see Maurice for the freshest food you'll ever taste. All kinds of fresh food for sale. Get your fresh food here.
This is a really great mod that is simple, and you can also add NPCs to the block list if you don't like their new lines. So I definitely recommend adding this mod if you're looking for just a bit of more immersion. The next mod is called Elemental Mastery Magic, adding 4 new mastery level spells to your game that you can use to pretty much decimate enemies. And because it only adds 4, we're going to go through each and every one of them so you can decide if you want to use this mod or not. With the first one being Chaos Furnace, adding a master level spell that takes quite a while to cast actually, but that's because it does tons of damage upon impact with enemies, and then it leaves around the area of effect that damages enemies per second as long as they are within its range. The next one focusing more on frost magic, and possibly my favorite, called Diamond Splash. When casting a spell, ice spikes will rise in the ground, damaging enemies and staggering them as long as they're within range of it. And considering each spike does separate damage, it can deal tons of damage to large enemies that hit them multiple times, like dragons if you happen to have it when you fight one. And based on how your mod list is set up, because it is frost, it also drains stamina. The next spell, summoning a large semi-living flame tornado, well, sort of. This one is called Flare Storm. When you hit an enemy with the ring of fire, or tornado will be summoned that will follow the enemy that got hit, dealing continuous damage. And once that enemy dies, it will just kind of sit there until it goes away, which is only a few seconds later, but until then, you cannot summon any more flame tornadoes. I guess that's kind of a balancing thing. And the reason I say semi-living is because enemies will not attack this tornado, but they will attack this next one unlike the previous 3, because this one isn't pure damage. It summons 3 lightning sprites, which is kind of like followers that do the damage for you. This one is called Supercharged Sprites. Upon using it, it summons 3 semi-stationary creatures that will only move to follow enemies around, dealing tons of damage. But they can be staggered and they can also die. So if you give them the chance, enemies will start to target them and kill them easily. What's special about this one is if you dual cast it, you'll instead summon 4 sprites instead of 3. Now for the more simple mods. This mod is called Snazzy Upper Cupboard Dressers and End Tables. This mod allows for you to see the items inside of the named furniture, and based on the patches that you use, it will keep the same furniture look of the mod that you're using, as well as the items inside of the cupboard. And these will change dynamically, and this is more so a 3-part showcase because Gutmall decided to mass release a bunch of mods. I don't know exactly why, but I'm definitely keeping them all. Because up next we have the Snazzy Common Cupboard Dressers and End Tables, just giving the same attention to detail as the noble furniture to the common furniture for a consistent and immersive look. What's really great about this mod is even if the container is empty, you'll still see items inside of it, and it'll still count as stealing if you take any of the things if the inventory does have stuff. But the more simple version of these mods is the Snazzy Noble Cupboards. This one only touches one type of furniture, and that furniture is pretty rare to find, so you won't see many differences, but there are a lot of clutter inside of them. But the favorite of the 3, well 4 I guess, is Snazzy Orc Dressers and End Table. And as you can see, I use an Orc Furniture replacer, but because this mod comes with patches, it is available and patched for Malakath Chosen. Just these 4 simple mods can add so much immersion to Skyrim, but they're super easy to download as well, and it covers most of the known texture mods. Of course, there are going to be some that aren't covered, but there are a lot of patches for the ones that are, so I advise mixing. This mod is called Wildlands Renewal, a completely new grass mod and ground covers mod, adding new plants and new grass types blended together to fit nature of the Wildlands original look. perfectly, mainly because they are made by the same mod author. And as you can see, this mod does aim to keep it lore friendly, so you'll see a yellow tundra at base, but in the optional files there is an option for a green tundra if that's what you go for like me. And because it has a brown tundra, you also know that once you go towards the rift, you won't have a green rift, but you'll have a completely yellow rift, which is what this mod aims for. Even though Nature of the Wildlands has a green rift option as the base, the yellow one is preferably what you should have. I will say though, when I first installed this mod, I had the 4K version, which was not a great idea at all. I lost a lot of FPS, but thankfully, the mod author released other versions like optional files and also a secondary download that downscales the textures without lowering the quality too much. And also, quick side note disclaimer, this is what the grass looks like without complex grass because I generally don't like using that. Each grass was made to fit the region as well as the trees placed in that region. This mod, as mentioned though, was made specially for Nature of the Wildlands, which is a dense forest area look with lots of fallen debris. But this grass, in my opinion, can look pretty good on any mod list. I prefer a grass patch, so I might take a few things from this, but honestly, you could definitely just download this mod and run it as is and you'll have a great time. And even though I do use Nature of the Wildlands, I use the vanilla only replacer, so I can only assume that it will look a lot different if I had the full Nature of the Wildlands with all the fallen debris, but it still looks great in my opinion. And quick warning to new modders, this mod does make edits to the landscape kind of like Falk Vanguard, so if you use something like Northern Roads like me, do not let it load after it. Up next, this mod is called Cold Foreigner Outfit, adding a new unisex light armor and also clothing to your game, featuring support for every major body type from 3v8 to B-Hump all the way to just using regular vanilla body type. And this armor is very modular. Everything that you see on this outfit can be unequipped at one time. Besides maybe the Cuirass, you'll have to kind of keep that together, otherwise it'll turn into not safe for work. The light armor and clothing variant both look exactly the same, just made to benefit those people going on a mage playthrough for the no armor perk. This armor also has options for 2K resolution, but of course this is a showcase, so I have to do the 4K to show the armor in all its glory, including the physics tied to the armor. The physics are kind of perfect in my opinion. They move with your character, but not so much that if you jump, the cloth starts to clip with your character's leg, and then you're forced to unequip the armor and then re-equip it. To obtain the armor, just craft the book at a tanning rack, which has no requirements, but once you have the book, you can make the armor or clothing variant with some resources at a blacksmith. Up next is simple retexture. This mod is called Skyking Alchemy Ingredients. Retexturing a large amount of alchemy ingredients, but combining it into an all-in-one. Because as you'll notice on Nexus, a lot of texture mods are separated and it's kind of hard to get them overhauled without overwriting some things, but this one fixes that and just overhauls a bunch of them and keeps a consistent look with new textures that are pretty much FPS friendly even though they're so small and so many of them. But this type of massive mod is the type of mod that you add as a base for other retextures and then you find other things that you like more and just let them overwrite this. But I definitely recommend grabbing this just as a basic because you want to mix things up. Up next, an overhaul for the Cradlestone Tower. This mod by Fuzzbeat is called Corrupted Cradlestone Tower. This mod overhauls the forgotten tower that not many people even know about by extending the tower with destroyed ruins, made to fit the Forsworn camp just south of it. And if you use Ryan's Lost Valley Redoubt, it fits that perfectly, and from my brief testing, I saw no incompatibilities. Aside from just expanding on the area, adding more clutter to make it at least look a little lived in, it also adds a few new enemies to this area, so it makes the Forsworn camp even harder now. Honestly, Fuzzbeat mods are becoming an instant download. Another overhaul, but this time for an interior. This mod is by Gutmaw and it is called Snazzy Interiors, Calixto's House of Curiosities. For a secret necromancer and merchant that pretty much buys everything and resells it, his inventory was pretty empty and so was his house. So this mod aims to fix that by adding tons of new clutter and also new miscellaneous items that you can't find anywhere else. But I really love how all of this is added to this interior, but because it was already so big, adding all of this didn't make it feel too cluttered, it just made it look a little less dead. It's just unfortunate that he won't be here to enjoy this new interior for long. But I guess no spoilers, even though this game has been out for longer than a decade now. But I guess people are still buying it, so I won't spoil it. And that was pretty much it for today, guys. Just some simple overhaul type mods or just landscape changing mods that I think you guys would enjoy. So if you did enjoy, make sure to hit that like button down below, and don't forget to endorse mod authors. Peace and love, guys.